Good morning, guys. So to start off with, you're going to need a hairdryer, a Dremel, a screwdriver, a Torx 20 bit, and that's pretty much what you need paint-wise for painting it. But otherwise, that's it. And Halo kit. For the actual tools, that's all you need. You just need T20, hairdryer, screwdriver, a Dremel, or something to cut it. Hi everyone, okay, so this is a tutorial on how to split these headlights. These are Volvo C30 ones. These ones are tinted, they're not just the normal ones, so they have tint on them, obviously. And then basically to start off, I've already done it, these clips. You take these clips off round here, so there's one here, there's one there, and then there's one down there. So there, and there. You have the same on the other side basically, so these ones at the top here, one here, and one here. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to take that apart and then you're going to heat up the area around it up here. So all this is going to just be heated up and basically pulled apart. And I'll take a video once I've got a hairdryer just to warm it up and show you. I tend to just start at the bottom here. Okay, so I've just taken that off, heated that up, and taken that part off, and this is what you'll be left with. So to start with, you want to make sure all around here, the reflective part in there, and all in here will be protected, and technically here, but there's not much lights being output there, so it's kind of personal preference. You can just paint it black, or I try to leave as much as I can, paint the other bits black. And that's what I tend to do. You want to keep as much of the reflective part that actually is required to keep light output the same. So tinted obviously destroys that anyway, but for the rest of it you want to keep as much light as possible. So I would strongly suggest that you try and cover this, and basically what we need to do is take the screws out. So you've got these different screws. I'd strongly suggest starting at the top first and working your way down, and take the screws out. It should be pretty easy. You might have to just take some of the light bulbs out, so this one will be blocking this, so I'll just take that out for example. And then once you've got this all apart, so you've got to remove that. Then you'll remove this literally pulls up and out the way. You then can take this one off, and then you can take that. For this one to paint, if you're installing halos, you'll need to cut a section in here. So once I've got this taken out, I'll show you where to cut, and it's quite helpful for that. So yeah, I'll show you that. And you do that before painting. You do not want to paint and then do it, because you'll just have to repaint anyway. So that's how that one works. And basically I'll take this apart and I'll show you what you need to do. Now you should have got to this part where you've got that piece out, that piece out, that piece out, that piece out, and that piece out. So you should have this remaining. You should have a bunch of screws for each thing. And try and keep them together if you can. I had to remove this little light bulb to get the top section out. No other light bulb, other than this one. So that's the full beam that had to be taken out as well. But once you get to this place, you have to, depending on what you're doing, if you're just blacking it out, just basically paint everything that's not reflective. So you want to keep this, you want to keep that section. Potentially this, I tend not to, because it should be reflective enough, because it's just the indicator on that one. So it doesn't have to be fully for the whole thing, just that reflective part that's basically the little squares for that one. So if you're just doing blacking out, that's what you do for that. And try and keep some of this as well. It depends what you're doing. If you're putting halos in, then you don't have to. You can, well, it depends where you install your halos. On mine, I tend to install, I think it's on the in the inside. I tend to install the halos, so you can black out the whole thing, because it's literally just going to be a plug anyway for the halos. But that's for that section. These are tinted. You can take the inner piece out. Because it's tinted, I'm not going to black it out. Because you can't really see, other than that chrome bit, reflective part, which I would tend to leave anyway. You can't really see it's chrome inside too much unless you kind of know, because you could say it's a gloss black. You wouldn't really tell, and as they're tinted, I'm going to leave them as they are. But for the rest of this, you can paint it black or a different colour if you want. So a lot of people will paint this section to accent off this part. So you could do that yellow, red, anything you basically want. You just tape up around here. Okay, so that's to do with that bit. I'll come back when I've got the thing to cut this in for the halos, because I'm going to install halos on these lights. Catch you in a minute. Okay, so now we're going to have to cut a area here for the halos. I'm using a Dremel tool, and because it makes it a lot easier to cut. I'm not going to video it while I do it, because that would be dangerous for me trying to do it one-handed. So I'm going to cut it, and then I'll come back and show you the end result. I've now cut it, so a little section like that. It's not necessarily the neatest, but you're only going to see it from that direction, and you can't really necessarily always get them straight. I know it's not that great, but it's a at-home kind of job. But now I got my head over here, so it goes in, go through there, push it through, and it should just sit on the outside of that ring. Perfect. These ones are, you have to glue these down, so I will get all these little bits here. These bits are going to be pushed over, so it's a flat surface to sit down, and then you just use like some sort of glue or adhesive. That's what I'm going to use. I'll try and find the link. I'll include it in the comments below or description below if I put this on YouTube. But I'll try and include that. So now that everything's kind of put together for the halos, so they go like that. These are my RGB custom ones. I've made them so they're going to be wired up as RGB that you can control however you want. They're going to indicate with the indicators. They'll do a dynamic, so that will look good. And I also make the same kind of style ones ALG use. I custom make those. They're 15 quid collected from me or 20 quid delivered. And just give me a hit on Instagram, Luke_digital, or in the description below if it's been updated since then. But yeah, so that's how that works. So that's that one done. So now it's just to basically paint. So you want to, I'll be repeating this a lot, but you want to keep this not painted, that not painted, and this bit not really painted if you can help it, because it means you can revert back if need be. But worst case scenario, you just have a black one. It's fine. It doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, so you just need to cover those bits up and paint the rest. That's pretty much it. And then reassemble everything back together. Make sure all the screws are in the correct places. Everything's plugged back in. Because if it's not plugged in, it'll be really awkward. But also you need to try and, so on mine, these wires, they're very, very long, so I might try and shorten them, I might not. But you basically have to try and tuck them in behind stuff. You don't want it too close to here. You don't want it getting really, really hot. So you want it to go behind, but you don't want it to be too warm. So I'm going to try and push it into this corner. Try and keep as much as I can in this corner for the headlights, so it doesn't get too warm. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I'll be painting the rest of this, and I'll show you when it's kind of all put back together. You can do the inner sides if you don't have yours tinted. So the insides of these black, you pop them out. They can break, just be very, very careful. And that's pretty much these headlights in any form. I'll try and show a whole thing as well once it's done. So this is how I'm doing it. I used an old rag. I'm going to paint this way, so it doesn't really matter too much about these edges, but I've used a bit of tape to protect the edges. So I'm going to just paint it like that, and come back when that's done. Now all these are painted, so it's not done amazingly. I didn't have primer, unfortunately, otherwise I would have primered these with black primer to start with. But I'm in a bit of a rush for this project, so they're not primered. They should be technically. Have the inside a headlight. They may peel eventually, but they're okay for the moment. And I'll take them apart if need be again, and do them once I've actually gone and bought some primer. So that's these. Now all you have to do is put it back into the headlight. Attach the halos to this once it's dry. This isn't dry, so I'm going to leave it to dry, and we'll come back to it probably tomorrow, and I'll show you then. Thank you. Bye. So this is the headlight. It's glued down. I put a different casing on it because I think the RGB works in this casing better. So I changed the casing, which was really awkward with RGB because they're glued inside, so you have to take the glue out very, very, very carefully. So they're placed on there with a wire there for that one. But the stuff I use is Araldite. It's really good for this stuff. You need to leave it 14 hours on set. So this project isn't for someone who's wanting to do it quickly and go out with their mates. You are going to be home 1 to 2 days. So that's stuff I use for that. That's just been glued. I need to leave that technically 14 hours. It's got 90 minutes handling time, I think it is. It says on the back of this stuff. So working time is 90 minutes, handling time is 8 hours, and full strength is 14 hours. So what I'm going to do is leave it for two hours. Then I'll probably put the headlight kind of semi back together. All you need to do is leave the lens off. Once this stuff's painted and you've put Araldite, you have to leave the lens off for 8 hours. Otherwise what you'll get condensation starting as soon as you kind of put it in. It'll start to condensation up. So you have to wait 8 hours from painting and gluing before it can be put back together at all for the lens. So there's nothing I can really show you at the moment. Otherwise, I've adjusted all my wires so that they're shorter, glued in the little RGB box that needs to be in there, and soldered into the indicator. So when the indicator is going off, I can actually use it. So it will make the RGB yellow when I'm indicating, which I think is quite nice. So yeah, and the reason this video hasn't been uploaded until after the 6th was because there's a show on the 6th, which is the Nordic Rides group. You can find them on Facebook, and I was gonna show off the RGB set on there because I haven't found anyone with RGB yet really in the UK, so I'm trying to make this. So I changed the casing. So this is the casing I've put on, which is see-through. These are the casing that the RGB came with. And they're glued in. These aren't RGB, they're doing connector. I just put the normal halos into the RGB casing because I wanted their casings, which are a lot better generally for RGB. The white casings aren't bad for normal halo lights. They're really, because they're so bright, because it's mainly white based. The casing's perfectly fine for white, but RGB show better through this. So so that's what I've done so far. And hopefully this helps a lot of you with some of this stuff. Little train. So yeah, so that's how it's going so far. I'll basically come back when it's dried. In about 2 hours time I'll come back and do the rest. I haven't taken that one apart, so I'll probably start off by doing that one as well now. But this shows the one side, the other side's exactly the same. So this is the end result, the painted bits around here. make sure that wasn't painted or that wasn't painted too much. There'll be a little bit of overspray, but it's a home job, so you kind of get what you get from there. I've tried not to spray there. However, that doesn't really make too much of a difference. That's if you want to retrofit bulbs back into it, which if you got halos, you're probably not wanting to do. But yeah, that's all good with that. So all the screws are back into place. All the wiring is tucked underneath. And we're now ready to put it back together. So that's where I've joined it, right at the top, in the light that joins there, not the one down here. Some people put them there. I much prefer to put them up in this one. Not sure why, it's just personal preference, I guess. And yeah, so we're all ready to put that back in. I've got some new seal to put back in. I'll link this below. I can't remember what it's called. I'll just link it below and it will be there somewhere in the comments. I'll tell you what it is or have a link to it. So yeah, these are my RGB halos. You can have, I haven't done both fully yet. This one still needs to go back together. Well, slash, yeah, go back together. That needs to stick down there. So yeah, so all is good there. All back together, all ready, all working, and ready to go back together. Just need to put new sealant, put it all round, especially where there's bits missing. If there's already a lot of seal there, you probably don't necessarily need it. It's just better safe than sorry. You want to just heat up the whole thing, put the headlight back on, carry on heating it as you're putting the clips back into place, and it's all done. So I'll show you the finished result at that point. With these halos, they're wired in to the indicator. I've added an extra wire and soldered it to the other yellow wire there, which is a little fiddly and awkward if you're going to do RGB halos that go with the indicator. But hopefully that looks good for everyone else. So yeah, perfect.